YouTubers ruined photography with your 5 ways to do this, your easy hack to do that. Photography is dying and it's all your fault. Have I broken photography?
Are we the baddies?
Before we get going today though, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a domain name, a website or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Now, over the last 10 years of doing photography on YouTube, myself and others have been accused of many things. The main one being that we are the problem with photography. Now, I've got to that point in my life where I'm able to reflect just a little bit. And I think I've got to admit that there is some element of truth in some of the things that people say. But on the other hand, I think there is a misdiagnosis here of the problem. So let's dig into it, have a little fun, and we'll see what we come up with. Now, one of the big ones here is that it's all about gear. There is a gear obsession amongst YouTubers. We're getting all these cameras and things thrown at us with a load of money, and we're just shilling all of that to you. Firstly, on the money side of things, that's not really true, certainly in my case. But I will admit that there is quite a large focus on camera reviews, gear obsession, because some people just make that content. That's the content they're making. They're sort of more like tech channels than they are photography channels. And there is accusations thrown around. YouTubers who do photography are just reviewing cameras and they never actually take a picture. I hope if you've watched this channel, you know that's not the case. Over the last few years, I've become really bored with the gear. I made a video a few years ago about reaching sort of peak camera where they're not getting any better anymore. Everybody has a good camera these days, and it kind of neutralizes the whole thing, and we can talk about other stuff. But the truth is that when you do make a video about gear, it gets loads of views. So it may not be the YouTuber or the creator who's responsible for that. Maybe it's a bit of the algorithm pushing these videos because they know people are interested in gear. And the truth is, that's all right. You're allowed to like cameras. I like cameras. Why wouldn't you love the tools that you use to create your artwork and create your photography and create whatever you want to create? I think actually the real problem is that what all these gear videos create is a sense that it's all about the gear. And it very clearly isn't. I get frustrated that people are always talking about gear and it's all very technical and stuff like that. But then we totally forget about the creative side and the artistic side. And that's certainly what I try to sneak into my videos. Because the truth is, if you just make a video about art, it isn't going to get many views. We'll talk a bit more about the way YouTube works in a little while, but if you're making videos that get no views or very little views, there's no point in making the video because it's a lot of work to do this. There's certainly been companies throwing cameras around at people recently. I'm not one of those people. I'm still shooting with a Canon 5D Mark IV. I'm becoming rather smug about this now because I'm quite proud of it. Although, as I replied to somebody in the comments recently, if Phase 1 come along and offer me 150 megapixel back, I can't promise that I won't take it because I've seen those cameras in action with Joe Cornish and my God, they produce great files. So just to warn you. So we've touched on it a little bit already, but the second accusation is that YouTubers like me are chasing views over art. It's not really about the photography. I think this one is actually quite true. I've argued for a long time that my videos, particularly the vlog videos where I'm out and about doing landscape photography, are not about photography. They're a human story. And I think it's that thing that connects with people. Go and look at the video from last week when I was out and about with Mally Davis. That story was not necessarily about photography. There was a photography element to it, and I think I got some good pictures, but the story was the journey. It was the journey in the rain. It was the sort of challenges we had sleeping in the car and getting wet. It was the camaraderie. It was the fun we had together. It was the journey. Like I've said for a long time, Top Gear wasn't about cars. It was about the relationship between the guys, their adventures, their travels. And I think that's what a really good photography vlog is also about. It's about that human endeavour. It's about the why rather than the how, although I do try and slot in a bit of how to get good shots. The photography YouTubers that have stuck around are the ones that people enjoy listening to. They're the ones with something to say. They're the ones with a story to tell. Certainly my primary focus when I'm making a vlog is to tell a good story that's going to offer you some value. It's not really about chasing views over the art. It's more about telling a story rather than making a fairly pretentious video about art. I want my videos to be consumable. I want them to reach as many people as possible, to get them inspired to pick up a camera and go and do photography. It's as simple as that. So next up is, I guess it's the fame effect, the influencer. I really, really hate that term. People refer to me as that, particularly sponsors and companies that I work with. I think because that's the category I sit in. That's what they're paying for. It's certainly not how I feel. The only thing I'm trying to influence is a passion and a love for photography. I'm not trying to tell you how you should do this or how you should do that. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper in photography. I'm absolutely ensured that I'm not that thing. There are plenty of people around that want to do that, and some of them may be YouTubers. So again, the accusation, there's some accuracy in it, but people are different. Another part of that, particularly from a landscape photographer point of view, is that we're constantly accused of being solely responsible for ruining the landscape, because we are promoting landscape photography. We're promoting people to get out into the environment, into these places, sometimes sharing locations, and somehow that's going to create a load of footfall and idiots will attend and destroy the landscape. I got sucked into that for a while. I thought that was true, and it absolutely isn't. I am not that influential. I promise you that. And no one has ever accused someone like David Attenborough of doing that, or programs like Countryfile that have been on for 40 odd years telling people about certain spots in the landscape. No one's ever thrown that accusation at them, or the thousands of books and blogs that are out there specifically sharing photography locations. No, Adam, it's completely your fault. The endless sponsorships, another thing we are accused of. Now, I get a little bit defensive on this point, and I've done a lot to mitigate it. I'm going to sound here like a comedian explaining a joke, but I'm going to explain the system that you are in right now, watching me on YouTube through that screen and through this lens. It is not free to make content. For me to create these videos takes a lot of time and money, particularly the ones where I'm going off and hiking up a hill. That video I did last week with Mally, that took me about 5 days to make. It was sort of a day planning. It was about, a full day the day before traveling there. Then the second day that we were there, because we stayed overnight. Then I got back later that day. Then I edited my photos that night. Then it took me 2 days to edit the video and publish it, which takes a bit of time as well, and do a thumbnail and all those kind of things. And on top of that, a huge amount of emotional energy because it was a tough shoot. It was a video that I loved. And then publishing it, you're like sharing your soul with the world. That's what it feels like. Thankfully, unlike other times, it got a really good response. It was very pleasurable and I enjoyed the whole thing. So somehow I need to make money making these videos. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. It isn't going to happen. And because we're on YouTube, that is a system that runs on advertising. That includes ads on YouTube and it includes sponsorships. And then me telling you about things that I'm selling personally. But it's all advertising and marketing. If you don't like it, and there are so many people out there whinging about the sponsorships, what I've done to mitigate this, and it's taken a lot of work, is I've created a completely separate system on my website. So you can go over to my website, you can watch this very same video without sponsorships and without adverts for free, completely for free, value for value. The idea being that if you enjoy it, you then decide, I might support Adam by giving him some money. That is called a value for value model. On here, It is an ad-driven model. There is another model, a subscription model, that I tried for a bit and I don't love it. So I now have people that are patrons that pay me every month to an amount they decide, and that helps keep this channel alive, and their support is huge. And they have that option as well to go and watch on my website without sponsorships. The trade-off is that you've got to come out of the YouTube system and watch it on my website. So it's maybe not as convenient. But that's the deal. That is the deal. And that's the way it is. So, on that note, you know that this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, in the world today, social media is absolutely terrible. But I love looking at photography online, and the place I do it now is on people's websites. I visit their website and look at their photographs because you can see them big. And the best place for photographers, without a doubt, to build their own website is with Squarespace. And there's several reasons for that. The main one being is that it's just so easy to do. You can use one of their beautiful templates to get started, or now you can use what they call Design Intelligence, which is essentially their AI system that will help you build a custom template. It will help you write copy, put your pictures on there, some of your words, and before you know it, you will have a unique and beautiful looking website. Because you start with a simple gallery, your images are going to look big, bold, and beautiful, presented exactly as your vision requires. So much better than social media. Then if you want to, the other good thing is that it will grow with you. So you can start selling things to have people support you. And they can buy your books, your prints, your workshops, your mugs, your calendars, your merch, whatever you want to sell, you can do that on Squarespace just as easily. They also have a membership section, so also you can run a value for value system on your website. It's just as easy to set up. It's a beautiful thing. So hit the link down below or go to squarespace.com to start your free trial today. And then if you like the website you've created, use the offer code FIRSTMAN. That's right, FIRSTMAN, that's me. Tell them that I sent you there. And the good thing about it is that you then get a new website, I get the credit for sending you there, and Squarespace get a new customer. Everybody wins, and it's a beautiful thing. Another thing that photography YouTubers get blamed for, particularly in the landscape photography space, is that we drive a certain style, and everybody ends up with photographs that look exactly the same. Now, again, I think there is a grain of truth in this. One of the biggest examples is with woodland photography. Your kind of misty, dreamy woodland photography becoming oversaturated and very popular and very abundant. I think there might be a grain of truth in that. I think it's similar with street photography, with big contrast black and white street photography. However, I think this is a problem with social media more than it is with YouTube. You start looking at woodland photography on Instagram, and then the algorithm will start to feed more of that to you. And I've talked about this on my channel before about algorithms, is that content drives the algorithm gets an idea of it, and then the algorithm drives the content. It's basically a doom loop, and it results in this kind of siloed way of thinking and seeing photography, and everybody having the same type of style. Very simply as well, just start by going to another photographer's website. You're going to see a much bigger range and diversity of work there, unaffected by these relatively evil algorithms. I've titled this bit Tutorial Culture. I started this channel for the first year, over 10 years ago now, just doing tutorials because I was frustrated that there wasn't that kind of information out there in a really consumable way. That then quickly led on to, in YouTube generally, not just photography, titles like 5 ways to sell a photography video on YouTube. They're cliche, they're annoying, but the fact is that they perform well on YouTube. People click on them. I've even sort of teased about it before, and people have replied in the comments saying, well, actually, I quite like those videos. You know what you're going to get. Obviously, some photography YouTubers have built their entire channel around those types of videos. And I'm not here to judge, and I've done it as well. And I've tried it at times, but I get sick of it. But I get it because, like I said earlier, if you're not getting views, there's no point in making the videos. The other part of that is that we then get accusations thrown at us that we're telling stuff that's wrong. Other pros that aren't on YouTube get jealous, and then they're throwing sort of negativity towards this person because they've said something that's slightly wrong. How could they say that? It's wrong. They're supposedly a pro photographer and they're wrong. Well, I've got news for you. I've been wrong sometimes. But the thing with a YouTube video, it's out there. And it's not, you can't correct it and upload a replacement. It just doesn't work like that. But if someone's consistently wrong, then that is about reputation and trust. Also, don't entirely trust the information that you're being given by a YouTuber. I think that's probably a solid way to start thinking about learning on YouTube. Just take the information for what it is and go and verify it yourself. People's frustration at YouTube photographers usually comes out in the form of, well, you're just a YouTube photographer. You're just a YouTube photographer. The amount of times I've heard that. And people have said it to me like it's an insult. And I took it as an insult for a long time. But then a couple of months ago, I made a video where I just thought, nah, I'm going to take that now. I'm going to take it as a compliment. Yes, I am just a YouTube photographer. That's basically what I do. I used to call myself a professional landscape photographer, but I don't anymore because I don't necessarily think that's what I am. I still go out and make landscape photography and videos and make money from all that. So what I am, I don't really care. I've never wanted to pigeonhole myself anyway. I don't think anybody should, or base their whole identity around their job. I think that's daft. I think when you get people saying you're just a YouTube photographer, it's often from other pros actually who are probably just a little bit jealous, and they've been throwing accusations and negativity around for a lot of years at people like me and Thomas Heaton and many, many others. And now they're all on YouTube. So I'm not really sure what that says. My ethos and way of operating is always to be very pleasant, kill them with kindness, and be humble and not say I told you so. But again, I think it's misdiagnosing the problem. I've talked a lot about the problem with photography. The problem is a very simple matter that over time, the price of digital content will trend to zero. And I think we're potentially at a point already where an individual digital photograph is worthless. And the reason for that is because scarcity creates value and abundance destroys value. And we have a bigger abundance of photography than we've ever had before. The iPhone 17 has just been released. The Google Pixel 10, they have 48, 50 megapixel cameras, 3 of them, a wide, a standard, and a zoom lens, all in the same machine. Then we get, on top of that, we get AI, which is now creating images that look almost real. And very soon, they will look completely real. Abundance, abundance, abundance of photos. And that is part of the problem with photography. It's a long-winded way of saying I don't think YouTube photographers are the problem. We're just, most of us anyway, are just people that love photography and we're trying to share that passion for you. Now, I assume that if you've got to this point in the video, you believe that's true of me as well. So, thanks for watching. Check out some links down below that have some offers I've got for you. You can become a patron. You can join me on a workshop. And I'll see you on another one very, very soon. Cheers. Bye.